Welcome, students of Standard 8. I hope that all of you are keeping well during this pandemic. But the classes are going on, as you all know, you are aware of it, and I hope you are solving the assignments. So today we will start with the second semester topic, okay? And it's all about algorithm and flowchart is the chapter name. We know that there are problems in our lives, and every problem comes along with a solution. So when we have to solve a problem, if a problem is there and we need to solve them, in such cases, what we have to do is, we have to plan out the intricacies of the problem, then jot it down in terms of steps in a sequence, in an orderly manner, and then proceed solving the same. So with reference to computer or any programming language, before we write a program, we need to plan out what exactly are supposed to be taken as input, to be solved, that is to be calculated and to be printed. So let us understand, there are two problem solving techniques before we write a program. The first one is algorithm and the second one is flowchart. So we will discuss about algorithm today, and the flowchart we will discuss some other time. So let us understand here what an algorithm is. Algorithm is a rule or a procedure for solving problems. So what happens if we have a lot of problems there, and when the problem is given to us, we need to solve them, and in order to solve them, we need the help of an algorithm, which is a sort of a guideline formed in a sort of a sequence. So it is a sequence of instructions that are required to get a desired result. So if you want a desired result, that is the result of your wish, according to your wish, then you need to follow these sequence of instructions. It helps to develop a fundamental logic of a problem. So if the problem is there, then we need to build up a logic of the problem. So in order to build a logic of the problem, we take the help of an algorithm. So I repeat again, an algorithm is a rule or procedure for solving problems. It is a sequence of instructions that are required to get a desired result. It helps to develop a fundamental logic of a problem. Okay, I'm taking an example over here. Write a program to accept two numbers and print their sum. Okay, so what are the steps now? How will you write? It's not a program, rather write an algorithm. Before writing a program, we need to write an algorithm. So how to write an algorithm here? Now what are the things that is to be concerned, that's to be taken into consideration? We will see that a little later. But right now we should know that what basically things are required. First of all, accept two numbers. First of all is accept two numbers. Then what is the next one is, then what you do is to calculate sum and store into a third variable. Okay, so for example, if you accept two numbers, say x and y, then what happens is calculate the sum, that is x plus y, and store into a third variable called c, say z. Z is equal to x plus y. Okay, we can take it this way, that is. Then the third step that would be is print or display z. So here what happens, within us 3 steps we can solve this particular program, the algorithm. So these are the steps that we saw, that show that a sequence of instructions are there. When you follow them strictly, you get the desired result. Is that clear all of you? Now we move on to the next one, that is here the characteristics of a good algorithm. So when we understand the algorithm, we should understand what are its characteristics. The first one is that each step must be clearly defined. But before that, I will move on to this one. That is, this is the first step basically. This is the first step. That is the first characteristic. It should contain blocks that will help to solve a problem. Blocks here means steps. Blocks here means steps, like for example here we have the steps. These are called blocks. There are 3 blocks that we have. There's the first block, second block and the third block for printing. So similarly here what happens, this one exactly means that it should contain blocks that will help to solve a problem. So divide them into blocks or steps. Then next one, let's come down to the second one. This is the first one becomes the second one. Each step must be clearly defined. So when you write them, please remember that you define them very clearly. Now here see, accept 2 numbers. I can accept 2 numbers. I can assign 2 variables here, x and y. Or you write over there print z. Or you write over there calculate sum and store into a third variable called z. So this way also we can do it. That's what happens is you are defining them. Then it should accept a set of inputs and produce a definite output. Obviously, that's a technique of problem solving here. Without input, you cannot have an output, or without giving an output, there is no use of having the inputs. So it should accept a set of inputs, calculates them, and produce a definite or a desired output. Fourth one. It must be terminated with a finite number of steps. Now the number of steps, of course, should be countable and should not be many. It should not be too many. Please don't beat around the bush and write too many steps over there. It's all about writing fewer steps, but concrete information should be displayed in those steps. Then the fifth one, it should be independent from any programming language. Now when you write an algorithm, you have to make sure that this is fit, that particular algorithm is fit or suited for every programming language. There are many programming languages. So for all the programming languages, this one algorithm will be the same. Okay. Then we have the next one. For this, this algorithm will work out for all the programming languages. Then the sixth one is, it should develop a logical platform for writing program. Basically, what is algorithm? It is a sequence of logical instructions. Alright, it is a sequence of logical instructions. Therefore, it should provide a logical platform, a space through which what happens is the user understands and writes the program, or a programmer understands. Because programmer is a professional, so the moment he or she looks at the algorithm, is able to understand its concept, and with the help of this concept, is able to design the program. So it should develop a logical platform for writing programs. Then we have the next one, that is the steps to develop an algorithm. This is another important part. How to create an algorithm, how to write an algorithm. Okay, so when you create an algorithm, the step that you develop an algorithm is, the first one is that it should begin with the word start. Please remember, it should always begin with the word start. Then you have give the number to each instruction. When you give this number, that is a step. They are called step. For each instruction refers to the step. So for every block there should be a number. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4 and step 5 like that. Then we have write each instruction in separate line. Each instruction, we can divide them into smaller parts and you can write them in separate lines. Then write in simple English language. Please remember. Now do not use ornamental words, so that the programmer, because he is a professional and he may not be, understanding English, hi-fi English over here. So please do not use ornamental words in this case. Use a simple English so as to make the person understand. Because, logic is more important than the language. Okay? Then it should terminate with the word stop. The last step should always contain stop. So I'll give you an example. We'll move on to the first one itself here. So when we write this one, then what happens is, when we write the steps, so how do we start with what we call the algorithm. How do we start with the algorithm over here? So what we will do here is step 1. Step 1, and I will write over here start. Then we will write step 2. Then we will write step 3. And then we will write step 4, and that is stop. So this is the basic structure of example of an algorithm. Alright? So I hope that you have understood. It's clear that the meaning of algorithm, as to what is an algorithm, the definition, the example of an algorithm as I showed you, then of course the characteristics and how to what are the steps for writing an algorithm is. So keep these things in mind, and associated with this topic is your assignments. Solve these assignments, store them in your copy, keep it ready, okay, and take care of yourself, because we are in a very different zone, and God bless all of you. Thanks a lot for watching the video. Thank you.